Most female characters in anime and manga feel left behind. They're lacking identity, strength, usefulness, and overall, an own authentic hero's journey. For every decent female character, there are at least 3 to 5 other female characters who seem neglected without the treatment they need. But that's still not the whole picture. It gets even more disappointing when you compare the good female characters to their male counterparts. No matter if protagonist or antagonist, almost always it's the men who are by far the better characters, and it's not even close. In manga anime, a disproportionate number of female characters don't live up to their potential. In this video, we will dissect this observation from different angles. We will start off with Sakura, who was unconsciously used as the benchmark for female characters beyond the verse of Naruto. I will also cautiously explain how Kishimoto could have improved Sakura without changing the roots of her personality. Then we will take a look at some good female characters who were either authentic personalities or went through their own journey. From there on, we will switch to the bad examples of female characters, outlining why they feel disappointing. To strengthen my point, I will use characters from Game of Thrones for the comparison. Last of all, I will give a conclusion. Sakura was one of the most hated characters in Naruto. She was the definition of the third wheel. While Naruto and Sasuke became one of the strongest characters in the verse, with less or more character progress, Sakura in comparison was weak and not as important and interesting as her team partners. But Sakura not being as strong as Naruto and Sasuke wasn't the main problem. Her implausible love for Sasuke, which the audience couldn't understand, made her incredibly annoying. Sasuke betrayed everyone. At some point he even wanted to eliminate his former team. He was always distant, but then became ruthless and egoistical. Because of Sakura's love for Sasuke, she made many questionable decisions which damaged her reputation. Once she wanted to eliminate Sasuke, had the chance but then hesitated. Kakashi had to save her. Shortly after, she again thought it was a good idea to attack Sasuke. This time, Kakashi couldn't do anything. Just before Sasuke was about to eliminate Sakura for a second time, Naruto had to save her. In a time period of a few minutes, Sakura took 2 major L's. Later, after the reunion of Team 7, she also warned Naruto to not get into her way, because now she was finally equal to Naruto and Sasuke. Sakura was unable to destroy the Rinnegan of Obito, although he begged her to do it. I could continue with more examples, but I think everyone got why Sakura was disliked that much. A female character who got a lot of hate, who also happened to be one of the main characters, had 2 opposing effects for the story. The immense hate for Sakura was obviously one effect, but it also meant that every other female character who wasn't as annoying as Sakura seemed more appealing in direct comparison. Hinata, Ino, Temari, Tenten, and so on, they all seemed like decent characters. If you look at it with a potential negative intent, Kishimoto pulled a very successful gaslight method, because all listed female characters weren't good characters either. Tenten had almost no screen time. Temari was strong but lacked an own story, and Ino was helpful but also lacked an own story. Hinata eventually had the biggest role compared to Ino, Tenten and Temari, and she definitely had her moments. For example, when she tried to free Naruto and fought against Pain, or a lot later when Neji died and she helped Naruto to get back on track. But there were also large parts of the story where she just disappeared. In Classic, when she fought against Neji, it felt like a build-up for her too. But in the end, Neji was the only one to grow as a character. Hinata's failed implementation as the future wife of Naruto is best demonstrated by the last. If Hinata had been well built up and integrated into the story, then the last wouldn't have been necessary. There, Naruto and Hinata as lovers got the attention and spotlight the story needed, so they could end up as a couple. But as I said, because Sakura was so annoying, it automatically made all other female characters shine. I will call it the Sakura effect. Back then, Naruto, One Piece and Bleach made the big three, and Naruto is still, to this day, one of the most successful manga and anime ever created. Therefore, I think Sakura was unconsciously used as the benchmark for female characters even beyond Naruto. Orihime from Bleach is a good example. She is not as annoying as Sakura was, and her healing abilities were one of the best in the verse. She played a huge role in the Huecomundo arc, and she also got her moments, and quite a few more than Hinata. But if you rewatch Bleach and pay attention to her journey, she also wasn't that special. Often she's just a bystander and the best she can do is shout In comparison to Sakura, she knows that she isn't as strong as Ichigo or Aizen. She accepted that she had to let Ichigo fight alone against Byakuya, although she wanted to support him. But if she joined, she'd be just a burden. Kubo gave her and Chad an own training arc with Urahara, but it still didn't feel complete. Orihime as a female main character definitely wasn't as annoying as Sakura, but that shouldn't be the benchmark. So now, what could Kishimoto have done differently to make Sakura a better character? I won't change the core of Sakura's personality, which is her love for Sasuke, because I think that's how Kishimoto initially imagined Sakura. If I were to rewrite Sakura, I would make Sakura own her unconditional and irrational feelings for Sasuke. After Sasuke left the village to be the student of Orochimaru, I would have given Sakura moments where she mostly internally wrestles with her love for Sasuke. Probably Sakura trying to rationalize her way out or desperately trying to repress her feelings, just to find out that she can't do anything against it. Sakura's untransparent feelings are what led to many weird moments which fueled the hate for her. For example, making a fake love confession to Naruto just so he would stop trying to save Sasuke, or her randomly attacking Jubi Madara. Naruto and Sasuke had to save her, and Sakura was only worried about Sasuke not holding her. By owning her confusing feelings and making it part of her personal progress, her whole character would seem much more understandable. Her concerns about Sasuke would make a lot more sense for the viewer. One of the main problems of Sakura was that her attraction for Sasuke was simply not grounded and therefore not understandable. Most of the time he didn't care about her at all. He tried to eliminate her multiple times and was always more concerned about his goals, Itachi and Naruto. Feelings and emotions don't have to be grounded or rational. But in Sakura's case they were never properly addressed, so that her attitude towards Sasuke and her questionable actions would seem understandable at least from her perspective. Fortunately, there are also a lot of well-written female characters. The most obvious one which motivated me to make this video is Maki Zenin from Jujutsu Kaisen. Maki going down her own hero's journey paired with the power-up she got deeply impressed me, because usually female characters don't get the treatment she got. Maki eliminating the Zenin clan didn't come out of nowhere. It was teased in season 1, 2 and especially in Jujutsu Kaisen 0. The Zenin clan is a horrible social construct. They only value strong, useful curse techniques. Even if you are one of the strongest, without a curse technique, you remain a disgrace for the clan. They are also very misogynistic. Girls and women are at the bottom of the hierarchy. With all that knowledge, it became clear why Mai and Maki hated the Zenin clan. They were girls and twins, which means neither of them can reach their full potential because the universe sees them as one being. So the abilities which were usually gifted to one person had to be split into two. Naoya bullied Maki throughout her childhood. Mai and Maki's father hated them, because they were the reasons why he didn't become head of the clan. He ultimately even wanted to eliminate his daughters. As we can see, Maki had a great build-up for everything which was about to happen. She also had a suitable personality. She was a courageous fighter who believed in herself. With Mai's sacrifice, Maki awakened and reached 100% of her heavenly restriction. She basically became a second Toji. Maki became an unstoppable force. No one of the Zenin clan was a real match for her. Maki's hatred for the clan was probably at its highest because her sister just passed away. Brutally, without any mercy, she kept the last promise she made to Mai. With the exception of Megumi, every Zenin clan member was eliminated. Maki's story was greatly written. Besides her, Yuki is also a decent character from JJK. She will get her moment in the future. Aside from JJK, Black Clover also had some great female characters. Mereoleona, for example, has many similarities to Maki. And Noelle and Vanessa were also good. Both of them grew up in bad family environments. Noelle, although having great potential, lacked confidence. Her siblings bullied her, and she was the black sheep of the family. After her first encounter with Asta, she made a lot of progress, developing into a strong, confident, reliable comrade. It was similar with Vanessa. Her mother knew her potential, therefore she kept her in a cage. Yami freed her, and a mixture of Asta's trust and her loved ones being in danger triggered her awakening. With her new gained abilities, she was able to manipulate reality. So Black Clover also had some very well written female characters. But there's one last anime in terms of positive examples I want to give a special mentioning, which is Attack on Titan. Hajime Isayama did his female characters justice and created a lot of very good authentic female journeys. Historia, Mikasa, Gabi, all of them were exceptional. With Mikasa you can make the same point as with Orihime, that her constant yelling for Eren was annoying. And it sometimes was, especially in season 1 and 2. But with her backstory, the meaning Eren had for her, Mikasa's struggle to potentially eliminate the love of her life to save humanity, and the final decision she made is peak writing. Not to mention her abilities as an Ackerman. Or Historia, who played a role as Krista. With the help of Ymir, she gained the strength to accept her true feelings and identity. Historia then almost fell back into old patterns by falling for the manipulation of her opportunistic, selfish father. But she decided to follow her own path, which was saving her friends and taking care of children. Gabi is often compared to Eren, and rightfully so. There are many purposefully drawn parallels between them, but I think she's more of a mixture of the trauma/brainwash of Rainer and the talent of Marcel. She was badly brainwashed by Marley, indoctrinated with the belief that Paradise is full of devils. Gabi's biggest goal was to become a Titan shifter to eliminate all the devils on that island, similar to Rainer. She then eliminated Sasha. Gabi was very proud of that achievement. Later, she met the family of Sasha, who took good care of her, and just like Rainer, she was also confronted with the truth. Gabi was able to cope with it because she didn't have the same minority complexes as Rainer, and she also got the space to stand for what she thought to be true, without being forced to blindly follow Marley as it was with Rainer. Therefore, Gabi didn't develop a split personality. She eventually accepted the truth, learning from it, regretting what she had done and thought about the people of Paradise. Again, it's an awesome journey. For the listed positive examples, there's one thing they all have in common. Even as side characters, all of them had their own story, with at least one particular turning point. Maki experiencing the death of his sister and eliminating the Zenin clan, Noelle starting to believe in herself, Vanessa turning against her mother, Mikasa deciding to eliminate Eren, Historia turning against her father, and Gabi acknowledging her mistakes and living out the consequences. All of these turning points also resemble huge character development, which is often very important to create good characters in general, no matter the gender. Sakura, Hinata, Inu, Temari, Orihime, Miwa, Meimei, and so on lack these crucial moments. Sometimes they even lack an own journey in first place. As I already said multiple times, many female characters lack an own journey with potential character development. But what they lack the most is authenticity. Because character development isn't a necessity for every good character. Often, side characters and sometimes even main characters stay mostly the same throughout the story. The balance of complex and simple characters is important. Once again, we have to take a look at Attack on Titan. Sasha and Hanji are rather simple characters, and still very good. They don't have a second or third layer in their personality. Sasha wasn't like Eren, who had to fight off memories from the past and future, and Hanji wasn't like Historia, who had a fake personality for a long time. In the very tragic and complex world of Attack on Titan, Sasha is an authentic comedy relief, who undoubtedly loved her friends and family, but good food was also enough to make her happy. Her purpose in life wasn't to make it to the basement, and she never wanted to eliminate all the people beyond the ocean. She was simply going with the flow of the story without making any major personal progress. Isayama probably imagined Sasha as a simple character, and he let her own it, similar with Hanji. Hanji later became a respected commander and was very smart, but for her, there was nothing more exciting than making research about Titans. Just like Sasha, she also lacked an own journey or progress. However, that was an important counterpart for the other very complex characters. Before I mentioned Mereoleona, and another character which I think is a good female character is the former Kenpachi Unohana. Both of them got rough backstories, and both of them are very strong. They're also rather simple characters without plot twists or development. Nonetheless, they feel like complete characters, fulfilling a purpose for their verses. Maki, Vanessa, Noelle were all side characters going down their own path. But not every side character has to do the same. I think it becomes a problem when too many characters lack an own story. Often that's a case with female characters. Until now we haven't talked about female antagonists. Therefore I'd like to bring in Big Mom from One Piece. I don't know if it's just me, but from all the emperors, Big Mom is by far the least interesting one. Whitebeard, Kaido and Shanks are a lot more appealing and popular than Big Mom. I was especially very disappointed during the whole Cake Island arc. Big Mom going crazy over a destroyed wedding cake was too much for me. She completely lost her mind, and firstly she started to hunt her opponents, but when the second cake was ready to eat, she got back to her normal state, no longer thinking about her enemies. One Piece is different, and I don't have a problem with weird weak spots of antagonists. Kaido was drunk 24/7, and if he had been sober the whole time, taking the danger of Luffy seriously, then Luffy wouldn't stand a chance. It's totally normal for so strong characters to be nerfed with character flaws. However, Big Mom seemed out of touch. Later in Wano she temporarily lost her memories. But when she got normal again and fought against Kid and Law, we saw how terrifying she actually is. That's probably the biggest paradox of her character. Her personality lags behind, but her abilities are in my opinion the best from all the former emperors. The Soul Fruit is ridiculously strong, In my opinion, better than the tremor and fish fruit from Whitebeard and Kaido. Big Mom being able to give any object life and taking life fits an emperor. The moment Jinbei stood his ground against Big Mom was so impressive because everyone felt how frightening she was. On the other hand, her backstory was one of the weakest in all of One Piece. She was abandoned by her parents because she was too big and dangerous. Then, on Elbaf, she was adopted by a corrupt nun. After she was forced to not eat a specific sweet for some days, she got so carried away that she didn't just eat the sweets, but also all the other orphans and the nun. Bro, how am I supposed to have empathy with that? When I read Big Mom's backstory, it felt so bizarre and out of touch, because usually Oda writes great backstories. Nami and especially Nico Robin had one of the best backstories in all of One Piece. Nami, who lost her mother, then joined Arlong and became a thief in order to buy back her village, was very sad and understandable. Nico Robin has a lot of similarities to Historia. She also had to accept her will to live, and just like Historia, Robin also needed help from outside to accept it. In comparison, Big Mom's backstory didn't trigger anything but irritation. An example for a well-written female antagonist is Cersei from Game of Thrones. She is frightening, manipulative, and full of hatred and selfishness. I don't think that she's that smart, and I also don't think that she ever truly loved her children. But it doesn't matter, because she works anyway. She was a worthy final antagonist for Game of Thrones. A little disclaimer, I'm solely talking about the series, not the books. Kaguya from Naruto was also the final antagonist, and she didn't feel worthy at all. Like Big Mom, Kaguya's abilities were authentic, and she was much stronger than Jubi Madara. Nonetheless, she still felt like a downgrade to Madara. Her backstory was basically that she gave chakra to the humans, and eventually she wanted to have it back. Therefore, Hagoromo and Hamura were forced to fight against her and seal her away. Kaguya almost completely lacks an identity. She never had a real personality. Madara, on the other hand, had a complex, twisted personality, paired with a lot of talent, strength, and history. Unfortunately, it feels like that even Zabuza had more credibility as an antagonist than Kaguya. The almost total lack of an identity is why I think Kaguya wasn't fully accepted as the final antagonist of Naruto. Before concluding, I just want to say that I also have a Jungian shadow analysis series. And from a Jungian perspective, both Big Mom and Kaguya are very interesting characters. They may not be particularly relatable because of their backstories and personalities, but from an archetypical point of view, Big Mom resonates with the archetype of the terrifying mother, and Kaguya resonates with the two sides of the great mother archetype. I think it has become clear just how far behind female characters are. For now, I just compared female characters to other female characters and explained what could be done better. If you compare them to male characters, the difference is far greater. Take a look at Naruto. On the one side we have Sasuke, Itachi, Obito, Madara, Nagato, Jiraiya, and on the female side are Tsunade, Kaguya, Sakura, Hinata, Konan. The character quality gap is incredible, but it doesn't have to stay that way. I didn't watch many real-life series, I prefer anime and manga, but I watched Game of Thrones. And it showed me that female characters can also have their own hero's journey, which are just as good as the stories of their male counterparts. The story of Arya Stark obliterates far more than 90% of female character stories in anime. Or the journey of Sansa, starting off as a young dreaming teen who grows up by having brutal encounters with reality. Sansa's story is very compelling and greatly written. In the manga industry, I got the feeling that many authors aren't courageous enough to give their female characters the spotlight they need. Isayama, who treated his female characters well, gave each of them the space they needed. The same with Maki. She also got her own time to shine. Especially Maki showed that it doesn't have to be that long. A few chapters with some prior build-up can be enough. I also want to make clear that it's impossible to make every female character a complex, twisted personality. As I explained earlier with Sasha and Hanji, many side characters are just side characters with a rather simple purpose. The main aspect I'd wish for is authenticity. Female characters should be authentic, just like all other characters, regardless of an higher purpose. As always, thank you for watching the video. I just want to add quickly that I completely forgot about my hero while writing the script, so I could have easily extended this video, but I think it came clear anyways. Yeah, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and check out my other videos. More content coming soon, so stay tuned. And yeah, hopefully see you soon.